Hello my quilting friends! Leah Day here with a new video for the machine quilting party. Today we're stitching another cool design with walking foot style quilting, and it's called Crazy Lines. It's basically taking the design we learned last week, only stitching it a lot more irregularly, and I'm also going to use some tape as a guide. So let's jump on the machine. I can't wait to show you all of these different techniques. So I've gotten started on my crazy lines and I love this texture and it is so quick and simple to quilt. I am using my 1/4 inch blue painter's tape and I found this on Amazon. I don't have a lot of great stores in my area. They don't carry a lot of great stuff, so I had to find this on Amazon, but I'm sure if you live in a bigger city you can probably find it locally. And so it's just 1/4 inch painter's tape. And so I'm just kind of thinking about how I want this to go, and I think I want this line to run more or less parallel with the line before it. So I just place it and smooth it out, and I found that using the thinner painter's tape, for some reason, it seemed to stick just a little bit better, and I was able to use it 2 or 3 times and reposition it. Because what we're doing here is we're just stitching nice long straight lines across the quilting space, and I'm varying the angle in a really crazy way. So I'm planning that out just by setting the angle of the painter's tape, and then all I have to do is stitch along it with my walking foot. Now this is backed with Minky. Look at this beautiful stuff, but Minky likes to grip on the surface of your machine, or at least it does for me. So I have my stitch length set up a little higher than usual. I'm at 2.5 millimeters. It's producing a nice tight stitch though because the Minky is a little grippy. Normally I would be stitching at 1.5 millimeters, so it's a full millimeter of difference because of the backing fabric. So now I've reached the end and I'm gonna lift that foot up all the way to the top, and I'm just gonna pull off that tape and rotate the block around and figure out how I want the next line to go. So it's a little bit of a fiddly nature, you know, with the foot here on the machine and trying to get the tape repositioned. So if you want to, just put your foot down and stitch away from where you were. It's no big deal. It does save you some time just to travel stitch along the edges though, rather than break thread and have to deal with the thread break and stuff. So here I'm just sliding this under the foot and trying to figure out how I want this angle to go. So again, stretch out the tape nice and straight, so that way it's forming a straight line, so it's nice and taut on the surface. And I think I want the line to start up here really close and then get further apart towards the end. So as you can see, crazy lines, not a lot of planning. I mean, other than just as I go, kind of think about how I want the line to look. I want it to be just a little bit more angled this time, and place the tape, and then I'm going to stitch right up to it and then down that edge of the tape. This time I'm stitching along the opposite edge of the tape, and that's another thing. You know, you can use, if you wanted to, you could use both edges of the tape and have a nice close parallel line. So really a lot of creative ways that you can do it. Unfortunately, the Minky is really linty, so I am always going to stop and brush off my quilt because that kind of drives me crazy. It's the one thing about Minky that I think is not so much fun, is the fact that the pile is constantly flaking off as you're stitching with it. But that's pretty much the only thing bad about Minky. Everything else about it is wonderful. So where will this design work best is crazy lines, straight lines going in all different directions. You can stitch them kind of parallel, you can do some V shapes, you can do all kinds of different things. So where will this work best? Well, I think it can work in a lot of different places. I kind of created a diagram within the book where Crazy Lines was stitched in the Prism Path quilt. So here it was stitched basically from the red squares on one side to the red squares on the other side, just kind of picking up the tape and shifting it around. So that would be pretty easy and simple to stitch, and then just use the ditches in the quilt to keep travel stitching and moving on. And here's what it looks like whenever you finish Crazy Lines. So here is Crazy Lines. I love how this came out, and I think I like the back even better because it's got this cool minky fabric on the back. Now, if you're looking for the quilt pattern to know how big to make your blocks and all that good stuff, you can find it in the new book, Explore Walking Foot Quilting with Leah Day. So come and check this out at leahday.com/walkingfoot. We're actually creating the quilt behind me. It's a sampler of 20 walking foot quilting designs. It's called Marvelous Mosaic. So definitely join in the fun, grab a book, and start quilting along with us each week. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube so you don't miss the next video coming out soon. Until next time, let's go quilt!